A Black Information Network. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is in Tel Aviv to show U.S. solidarity with Israel in its war against Hamas. Austin, who is African American, arrived for talks with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel's defense minister. The Department of Defense says Austin will also meet with members of the Israeli War Cabinet to discuss the country's operational planning and security assistance needs. We're now learning President Joe Biden is set to announce the winner of a huge hydrogen hub selection project today during his trip to Philadelphia. Two of the proposed hubs are partially located in Pennsylvania, one in the Mid-Atlantic region and the other in the Appalachian region. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hey, if you're thinking of getting the latest iPhone, you need to stop and check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and Boost Infinite. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dialed text message from this station.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Brooklyn Nets held a moment of silence last night before their preseason game in Brooklyn against Maccabi Ra'anana, a pro team from Israel. The moment of silence was a memorial for victims of the war between Israel and Hamas. Maccabi officials thought about canceling last night's game, but decided to play as a show of solidarity for their country. Maccabi has two other exhibition games against NBA teams on their schedule, Monday in Cleveland and Tuesday in Minnesota. Former Memphis guard Dylan "The Villain" Brooks, now with the Houston Rockets, is still getting into trouble. The NBA fined Brooks $25,000 for hitting Indiana Pacers center Daniel Theis in the groin Tuesday night. You would think he would have learned a lesson by now after doing the same thing to LeBron James in the playoffs last season. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. 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 Follow the leader.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money P. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not too unsettled. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the move. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. And my first thing every single day, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from the Most High, asking for the blessings of the ancestors, the elders, and let's go. We have a lot to talk about. As always, first of all, it's Friday the 13th in October. Don't know what that means to you, but seems like it should be a holiday when there's a Friday the 13th in October before Halloween. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm always thinking of ways to be more festive and try to lean into the fun part of life. In any case, you know how we do this. Hour one, we go local, look to the left coast. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond with the freestyle phones. You can bring up any topic you like. Hour three, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest or maybe a hot topic. And today we will be hearing from some folks who are fighting for their land. It is the Bruce's Beach story, in a sense, happening all over again, happening all over the country as the restitution, reparation, make us whole movement takes root and gains momentum in America. So that will be an exciting conversation. We'll meet the family along with Kevon Ward, who is the founder of Where's My Land, the group that helped the Bruce family get back Bruce's Beach. So that'll be an interesting conversation. And of course, you're always invited in. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580 is the number to call. No matter where you are, you can reach out and get in to the conversation. I'm so happy to have my regular partner in politics back on this Friday. She's a labor organizer, she's a mom, and she is a KBLA contributor. She's also a Dorsey Dawn for those of you on the LA side. Sherry Bell, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody.
It's a happy Friday because we're here and we get to talk and speak and push for what's good. It seems like it's a really happy Friday for the workers on strike for Kaiser Permanente. Sounds like they've got a tentative deal. They've been on strike for 1 week, tens of thousands of Kaiser employees. And this morning on social media, they announced that they had something in the works which could be allowing those 85,000 workers to go back on the job with a decent deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good news that it didn't take as long a time as other strikes. I mean, this year, boy, I tell you, 2023 is an eye-opener. And, you know, it really demonstrates the power of workers. A lot of people, you know, that need medical attention will now be able to get it. And hopefully Kaiser will hear the voices of their staff and hire more people and raise the wages, because I hear that their problem was turnover, right? Because they are working really hard and the wages are not sustaining their livability where they reside. So hopefully this will address that turnover issue as well.
And this is also SEIU, of course. And the thing about that's almost every union, every strike that we've seen this summer. One of the big issues is, can I afford to live where I work? And we should be able to work where we live. We shouldn't have to drive miles and miles and have no personal life and pay these ridiculous gasoline prices. And it's to the advantage of everyone if the essential workers of a community are able to reside there.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see this pushback happening. But yeah, unfortunately, that is the case. A lot of folks have to drive from the Inland Empire farther away where they can actually afford to live into cities like LA and Inglewood and Santa Monica. A lot of folks who live here are among the most fortunate ones, right? But unfortunately, even when you live in the city, the rent is so high is that the availability is becoming less and less. You're not able to live in a great neighborhood, basically off of what you make. I could speak for myself, and I feel like a lot of local governments, right, the people who green light construction of fancy luxury apartments and things of that nature that are popping up everywhere. I feel, we are starting to talk more about it in the public, but there needs to be more accountability from elected officials, people who issue building permits, to really assess like, hey, this is my community. The housing is not growing for people who work here. And, I need to be more accountable to my constituents and make sure that the people who work in my district can afford to live here. But unfortunately, LA has this pay for play type of reputation where, this is a very lucrative market for the housing business. So, that's great. Like these campaigns are popping up like Fix LA and other campaigns that are really designed to hold these like city council members, even the mayor. And I know the mayor is doing a great job. She's doing like a lot of work intentionally on addressing this livability issue, but there's a lot more that needs to be done.
It's really, really true. I mean, even folks that have middle class jobs are struggling to pay for housing in Los Angeles, pretty much the whole state of California at this point, unless you want to live way, way out in the country. And then you're going to have quite a commute unless you can work out there, which many of us cannot. And this strike covers everyone from food service workers at hospitals to x-ray techs. And so apparently if they agree to the terms of this deal, it will also settle in advance another planned strike in Seattle. Great news for hospital workers who are so essential during the pandemic era and all, but also for those of us who are members of Kaiser and have a hard enough accessing healthcare as it is.
Yeah.
Not go ahead, Sherry. Yeah.
No, it's true. And I'm glad that, this is going to be a preemptive, benefit for other workers, and I mean, it's like, I know I'm kind of naive in saying this, but it's sad that people have to go on strike to make people do the right thing, but like who everybody's listening, who wondering why I pay my money to a union, they're not doing anything, I'm good, please pay attention to how powerful, the unions have been in raising labor standards for workers all across the country and locally, because they are the people who combine their power and get together and go after the employer to do the right thing, right? To make sure that you are able to work with dignity and respect. So next time somebody approach you, remember what you saw in the media, right? Who was the people who were responsible for making a change?
Yeah, that is a very good point, because a lot of folks that don't belong to unions or have been in one so long that they kind of take it for granted have these anti-union views that are really based on stereotypes, propaganda, talking points, right? That's separate us from unions. But unions are really just organizations of workers. Unions are really just workers coming together to get a better deal. That's what they are. That's how we got 8-hour days. That's how we got weekends. That's how we got standards that apply to many, many jobs that are not union jobs at all, but have been impacted by the labor movement. So I think you're right. It's important to remember that we all benefit when workers are stronger. Not such a good Friday the 13th for actors, though. Those SAG-AFTRA talks have broken down. Apparently, the studios are saying that they don't agree with the actors' demands for streaming. And that makes sense, because those are those tiny residual checks that you guys have been seeing actors posting on social media. I have a couple of them in my inbox right now. And they're getting tinier and tinier as the streaming companies try to narrow the amount of profit sharing they're doing with workers as they replay and replay and replay these projects, right? Popular projects stream over and over again. Actors don't even have a clear way of knowing how much money the studios are making off a given project, and we want to cut. When talks break down like this, Sherry, where the AMPTP has put out a statement saying we're too far apart, and the actors are saying that producers are using bullying tactics, how bad is that breakdown?
This is so annoying, and so infuriating, right? When you think about the percentage of profits that folks are really asking for, the lack of transparency that is definitely in place, right? I heard someone say, in case folks are having trouble figuring out, why is this a big issue, that an actor that, I think I heard Avi Bernard say this on the show, but that when somebody is like an actor on a network show, like channels 2 through 13, their residual check looks a lot nicer than when they receive a residual check from something featured on a streaming app. Right.
Yeah,
so that's
right.
the issue, right? The take home is way less. And, the streaming business is doing nothing but growing. They're in Oscar categories. They're in Emmy categories. People binge and binge and binge, right? And that's the problem. It's like, the people who are, the workers, who is the folks who are featured in the content that is, garnering all these accolades and views, are not reaping the benefits. And these streaming industries are just hoarding the profits and finding ways for them to grow, finding ways for them to expand. But they're not thinking about the people who are actually responsible for their success. So I'm really, 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 really hoping that that something is worked out soon, and that somebody gets in the ear, of the AMPT. I don't know the acronym, but get in their ear and get in their ear quickly, because what they're doing is basically just displaying more greed. And I think it could be a class issue as well, right? Because, maybe there's some type of hierarchy when you look at writers and you look at actors, right? Like, who are writers, and who are actors? Who are the actors that are not making the money, right? They probably could be people of color. They probably could be people that are an afterthought, people who don't have the big powerhouse talent agents, to speak up for them. So I'm being optimistic, and I hope that they fall in line soon.
Class struggle in the entertainment business is real. You notice the directors got their deal first. They tend to make a lot more money. The writers can be just as, they could be in any class. They could be struggling, but they can't have any shows at all without writers. I mean, I think they forget they can't have shows without actors. I feel like some of these producers think actors are desperate because we want to be on camera. We need attention. We want to work at all costs. And that's part of it. So many actors that have side hustles, working at a car wash, waiting tables, whatever it might be, because they love the craft. And I think that is one reason why the AMPTP thinks that they can treat the actors differently. And that's why actors are saying they're bullying. The producers are the ones that walked away from the table. We can never get a deal if we're not talking. And so I hope that, as you said, Sherry, someone gets in their ear, but usually that someone has to be the public and the union workers ourselves. So, and I think my impression is that the actors are not playing this time. This time they're coming hard. I don't think we're going to be backing down. I think the picket lines are going to get bigger and louder, and hopefully we can cut a deal, because if not, it's going to be a drab award season and a terrible holiday season, not just for actors, but for all of the folks that depend on the entertainment industry. I'm Dominique DiPrima. Sherry Bell is here, and you can get in the convo, 800-920-1580. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Moments like seeing my son's team cheer him on mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
The Green Foundation, key health influencer, empowering our Black communities through action. The Green Foundation advocates for affordable health care, accessibility, and knows the importance of culturally relatable health care. Regardless of income, we believe it is a right for optimum health. The Green Foundation has been at the forefront for 25 years, dedicated solely to promoting prevention through early detection, annual screenings, and nutrition. We know you because we are you. Our hand-holding approach supports you and your family to receive your right to be treated fairly and receiving quality healthcare services. We want you and your family to know COVID-19 was devastating to our families and to our wallet. We can build back better by understanding prevention, wearing your mask, washing your hands, social distancing, and understanding the impact of long COVID. Get the care you deserve. Take advantage of your privileges. Contact us, info@thegreenfoundation.net. info@thegreenfoundation.net.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right
now. Appreciate you so much. Another thing I wanted to say, Sherry Bell here this morning, my partner in politics at Sherry De La Ghetto on Instagram. You can find me at DiPrima Radio, and of course, the whole station at KBLA 1580. You remember during the writer's strike when the AMPTP put out the deal points in the media to try to pressure writers into folding, basically, and going along with their plan. I think they do it so the public will say, oh, that's not such a bad deal. The writers are being greedy, or that they can sow division within our ranks. They've done the same thing with the actors. And I'm wondering if they think that we're stupider than the writers, so we might go for the okie doke.
Right.
What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's that whole like union greed mentality, like the propaganda for anti-unions, right? Like we're being fair, the unions are being like unreasonable. And, so instead of the public supporting the actors, trying to get the actors to reason, quote unquote, and accept their offer. So that's the tactic that they're using, which is not bargaining in good faith. And, I'm proud of the actors, especially the Black actors that are not leaving equity off the table in these renegotiation conversations. The LA Times recently put out an article basically highlighting the fact that, wages are an issue, but also representation and inclusion are also issues. Kendrick Sampson has been very vocal about this issue as well, regarding, pipelines and highlighting Black stories and like making people feel included, not just like tokens, right? So I am optimistic and I'm feeling hopeful and invigorated that this conversation is also being included as this contract is being negotiated. And I'm really hopeful that these strong actors that are speaking up about this will get some type of provisions to address those issues as well of inclusion and equity.
That's a great point. It's also true that we're more sophisticated than we used to be. For all the downsides of social media, it has given people educations around certain topics. And I think the rights of workers and fair pay, fair wages, fair working conditions, inclusion are things that we are more sophisticated about now than we might have been 10 years ago, partly due to conversations that are happening on social media.
Yeah, it's like a good consequence of social
Right.
media. Like, I don't know if it's an unintended consequence or, but people, speak about social media a lot of the times in a negative light, the way that it is so like, just everywhere, right? It's ubiquitous. It's all this transparency and conversation going on. But I think that, like you said, it gets us talking about issues that have not been talked about in a way. And like where people get on and they educate and they tell their stories, it is awakening like this light bulb in people's heads, like, hold up, like I'm experiencing this issue too. Like this is what we need to talk about it. Like we need to have a plan to address it. And I think that's what's happening.
Yeah. It's amazing. You can actually learn things on social media as long as you fact check, source check, follow the money. So we had a superstar convention at the Grove this week on Wednesday when Beyonce went to support Taylor Swift at the premiere of her film. There were a lot of other celebrities there as well, but the whole world went crazy to have Taylor Swift and Beyonce in the same space.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I mean, call me naive, but I think a lot of times when people compare Beyonce and Taylor Swift online, there's people who have whole debates about it. I do think there are some racial undertones to the comparison between the two. But I'm glad that they got together and at least kind of can address those types of issues, or people who think that they can divide and conquer, based on those types of arguments. But yeah, that's really exciting, right? Like right down the street, two of the biggest stars in the world with the highest grossing tours of the year, and not and showing some type of camaraderie and not like divisiveness and like cattiness, being that they are pretty much each other's competition when you get to the creme of the creme, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool for those reasons. And you're right. Even the war in the media, it's not just the people online. Some people say Taylor Swift has single-handedly boosted the summer economy. And many of us were like, wait a minute, Beyonce did as much, if not more. So it was good to see them together. Whether the media recognizes Beyonce's economic contributions to this country or not, it was nice to see Taylor Swift giving her props, saying, without Beyonce, there's no me. And to your point, in a time of reality shows and wig snatching and images of women constantly competing and hating on each other, it's great to see some solidarity, some sisterhood, even in the entertainment side of things.
Yeah, they're like the queen of surprises. They love surprising their fans, So there you go.
That was a big one. Just turn up at the Grove. But speaking of their fans, they both have those rabid fans. Let me not say rabid. I should say dedicated, super dedicated. The Beehive and the Swifties will cut you if you say something about their respective superstars. And their fans are also all the way down to little kids. So I think it's important that they're modeling that kind of mutual support and friendship among women rather than, who's the best? I'll kill you. You're wrong. Taylor Swift rules. Beyonce rules.
Right. Yeah, because if that was the case, it can literally cause like a little, I don't want to say uproar, but you can imagine, right? Like if both of their fans, the Swifties and the Beehive, were in the same location and they were going at it, and then their fans will definitely go at it. So it's good that they, are showing that display of unity. And it'll be great, honestly, if they could do a song together. Oh, man, that'd be so cool. I hope they're working on something.
Why was Flavor Flav there, though? I'm just saying. That's...
You know what? Flavor Flav and these friendship bracelets, I am so confused.
Sherry Bella's here. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and you're invited in always. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Israel is telling the UN to evacuate over 1 million people in northern Gaza over the next 24 hours. UN officials say the Israeli Ministry of Defense told them Thursday to notify Palestinians living in the northern areas to evacuate the southern part of the Gaza Strip. The move could mean that an Israeli ground assault against Hamas is imminent. In Louisiana, the Jefferson Parish public school system is under investigation for possible discrimination. The State Department of Education Office for Civil Rights is looking into the district's decision to merge and close schools with lower student enrollment earlier this year. The aim is to determine if those closures disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hey, if you're thinking of getting the latest iPhone, you need to stop and check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and Boost Infinite. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dialed text message from this station.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. The Brooklyn Nets held a moment of silence last night before their preseason game in Brooklyn against Maccabi Ra'anana, a pro team from Israel. The moment of silence was a memorial for victims of the war between Israel and Hamas. Maccabi officials thought about canceling last night's game, but decided to play as a show of solidarity for their country. Maccabi has 2 other exhibition games against NBA teams on their schedule, Monday in Cleveland and Tuesday in Minnesota. Former Memphis guard Dylan "The Villain" Brooks, now with the Houston Rockets, is still getting into trouble. The NBA fined Brooks $25,000 for hitting Indiana Pacers center Daniel Theis in the groin Tuesday night. You would think he would have learned a lesson by now after doing the same thing to LeBron James in the playoffs last season. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
A sense of peace, a place to kick back and put down roots, a lasting legacy. However you define home, at City National, we're committed to helping you get there with our City National Ladder Up Home Loan Program. Find the full benefits at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National Bank, here for our clients and communities. Ladder Up program is available only in select areas. Terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS ID 536994.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
I walk for my mom, who survived a heart attack.
I walk to inspire my kids.
I walk to save lives. So can you. Join the American Heart Association's Greater Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, October 22nd. Register at heartwalkla.org.
What's up? I'm Danelle Riley, FAMU alumni and creator of the HBCU Culture Shop. I am so proud of my new partnership with Black Beyond Measure and Target. They help me elevate community pride with my HBCU designs and continue to support Black creators and entrepreneurs with Target HBCU challenges, scholarship programs, and campus collaborations. Let's come together this homecoming season and beyond. Shop my brand and discover other Black-owned products at target.com/blackbeyondmeasure.
You are now in Big Tobacco's fantasy land. Welcome. It's a healthier world where they want you to believe that vaping makes quitting cigarettes a breeze. Never mind the evidence that vaping leads to using both. And if you're younger, even better, teens who vape are 3 times likelier to use cigarettes. In Big Tobacco's fantasy land, the deadliest industry is your friend. Big Tobacco's idea of smoke-free is a dangerous fantasy for us all. See reality at undo.org.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
To some, this might sound like a typical family dog. But at Dog Chow, we know that for a veteran suffering from PTSD, this could be the sound of life-saving therapy.
Thanks, Betty.
That's why we've made it our mission to connect every military hero in need with a canine hero of their own. To learn about the simple ways you can help Dog Chow in our mission, visit dogchow.com/veterans.
The Green Foundation, key health influencer, empowering our Black communities through action. The Green Foundation advocates for affordable health care, accessibility, and knows the importance of culturally relatable health care. Regardless of income, we believe it is a right for optimum health. The Green Foundation has been at the forefront for 25 years, dedicated solely to promoting prevention through early detection, annual screenings, and nutrition. We know you because we are you. Our hand-holding approach supports you and your family to receive your right to be treated fairly and receiving quality healthcare services. We want you and your family to know COVID-19 was devastating to our families and to our wallet. We can build back better by understanding prevention, wearing your mask, washing your hands, social distancing, and understanding the impact of long COVID. Get the care you deserve. Take advantage of your privileges. Contact us, info@thegreenfoundation.net. info@thegreenfoundation.net.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark. Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. You start to freeze, and so it looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed, 'cause this is daylight night, and no one's gonna save you from the beast about to strike. You know it's daylight night. You're fighting for your life inside a killer thriller tonight. You hit the door slam and realize there's nowhere left to run. You feel the cold hand and wonder if you ever see the sun. You close your eyes and hope that this is just imagination.
Happy Friday the 13th from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. Sherry Bell, labor organizer, and my partner in politics. Sherry, are you superstitious? Are you one of those people who observes Friday the 13th?
You know what? I decided to make Friday the 13th a lucky day. I feel like it's a good day to buy a scratcher. I'm gonna reclaim it and repurpose it because I feel like, hey, why not? But I don't like the movies. Right, I do not like those movies. Friday the 13th. I much prefer to listen to Thriller.
Right?
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like it's a lucky day. So just remember that, y'all.
Have a lucky day. I love it. I am not superstitious per se, but I don't like scary movies. I think life is scary enough without movies to make it worse.
Yeah, you can find me watching the most shallow content. I watch shallow.
Like what?
like rom-coms, comedies. I could do a mystery, but you're not going to get me to watch like stuff like Snowfall, like stuff that I can see in my everyday life. Like I don't need to watch it. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I get it. Sometimes you need a mental vacation. I call it junk food for my mind, and I enjoy it thoroughly. Sometimes I want to unplug from the news and watch 90 Day Fiance or something.
Exactly.
Even though I suppose that has a political element if you really drill down, but it's mostly just being in people's business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I noticed you reposted, Sherry, the conversation or something about the conversation we had Monday regarding the tape 1 year later. Nuri Martinez's interview that she did with some other outlet that's not Black.
Right.
Kevin De Leon's decision to run for office again, despite being disgraced, racist, anti-renter, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. What'd you think of that conversation? What was your takeaway? What was your...
Well, yeah, there was a lot of good takeaways. First of all, I'm annoyed by this too. My blood is just boiling that they are, number one, you can obviously see that they don't, how can I say this? They feel like that. That's who they are. They don't regret it. That's those fake apologies. Like, that's all BS. Like, they are who they are on that tape, right? And who gonna rock with them? Gonna rock with them. What is coming out of their mouth is like they're trying to make it seem like at the time, right, when it happened, oh, I'm so sorry. This is what I took away from the conversation. At the time, they were like, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. Now, a year later, they're like, I didn't do anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And instead of like doing like Eunice said in the conversation, the work, right? The restorative justice, the work to reduce the harm, right? Like your talking points and what you're saying now is not reflective of somebody who did some deep reflection about the harm that you caused to other people with your comments. Right. If you were really remorseful, you would see it, right? And and what they're saying in the media now, but you don't. And it's like instead you're on the defense, and so much so on the defense, right, that you are suing workers. They're suing the Fed. We talked about it earlier. Unions are workers. Those are their dues. They are filing a lawsuit against the workers. Now, the workers, it was staff, to my knowledge, that were trying to record a spouse and two staff members of the union that were trying to, allegedly, right? But in turn, I think Kevin De Leon is probably suing those people as individuals because he might be trying to get the Fed to back him, which I don't think will happen. But it's like Nuri and Gil, they're going after the Fed, they're going after workers. And like, if you're so, remorseful of what you said, the hurtful comments that you said, right? Instead of like you, us seeing that you went to, you know how like celebrities, like when they get caught or something, they'll go to rehab. You know, like I don't see them went to no rehab for their like racist, homophobic, colorist
rehab.
views. You know what I'm saying? So I guess what I took away is that how their tune changed, right? And how folks realized that, hey, maybe my livelihood is not going to be the same as it was before. So now, forget me trying to like be a better person. I'm trying to do whatever I can to line my pockets, and I'm not going to admit to any type of guilt. I'm gonna play like I didn't say anything or do anything potentially that would have harmed a group of people based on how they look. So it's just disgusting. It's disgusting that Kevin De Leon is running again, and that he might have a chance because of who his constituents are and where they live. I'm hoping that folks will. That there's a strong candidate who will challenge him and not allow him to get reelected, because if he does, then I feel like it'll be like Trump 2020, honestly. Somebody who's just unapologetically out there, just saying and doing things that are harmful and getting rewarded for it. I don't agree. But I thought that the talk, though, was excellent journalism. The contributions of everybody at the table, including you, were very, very insightful. Yeah, and it just reminded us that what the conversation was about, right? Undermining Black power. It's a zero-sum game. When other folks are in power, right? The whole thing about proximity to whiteness. Right? When Black folks are talking about equity and fairness, we're just talking about, hey, we want to be treated equitably and fairly. We don't want to be left out. We don't want our underrepresentation to affect our families and our communities. We don't want that at the expense of cutting anyone else out or undermining anyone. We never have, and I don't think we ever will. But the people at that table didn't have that same sentiment. They intentionally tried to bolster whatever power or that they had by strategically and methodically, right, targeting Black communities with little power we do have in terms of the numbers of our population. So there you have it.
Yeah, that's a great point. When we come forward, I want to get your thoughts about whether he's defeatable. Would you have taken the bet that Dr. Melina Abdullah took with Tavis, that dollar bet that De Leon can be defeated? I want to get your thoughts on that. How are the alt lines going to break down? Where's Labor going to be? Where is the Democratic Party going to be? And can activists like yourself and myself really mobilize to defeat disgraced racist, anti-Indigenous, anti-renter, anti-LGBTQ plus council member Kevin De Leon? That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Leimert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
Do you have both Medi-Cal and Medicare?
If so, the new LA Care plan called Medicare Plus can help you get the most out of your health plan for $0.
LA Care provides personalized service to Angelinos like us.
Plus, it gives us access to doctors and specialists across Los Angeles County.
For zero cost, we get access to full benefits.
From vision coverage,
in-home support services,
to prescription drug coverage and a quarterly over-the-counter allowance.
Plus personal equipment,
meal programs,
a gym membership,
and so much more.
For more than 25 years,
LA Care has provided Angelinos with access to quality health care at an affordable cost.
For our families,
our seniors,
our community,
it's a plus.
It's a plus
for all of us.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Sherry Bell is here with me. I was thinking during the break how I always say anti-Black or racist, disgraced council member Kevin De Leon, and I should say anti-Latino, because not just anti-Indigenousness, but the way he allowed the hate to be piled on himself and didn't even stand up for himself. It reminds me a little of Clarence Thomas while we're making these comparisons. Latino people who won't even stand up for the more dark-skinned among the Latinos. That's crazy to me, even if that dark-skinned person is yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of like the comment that Mike Bonin made towards the end of the conversation when he said that, like there's, like we were talking a lot about like anti-Black racism within the Latino community. And we're not really talking about the anti-Black racism in the white community. And I feel like that, like, yeah, the proximity to whiteness, right? Like some Latinos can assimilate and be and pass for white. They can benefit from the privilege of their skin color. And it's all back to white supremacy. It ties back to white supremacy, right? Like when you have Black and brown people fighting on the ground, a lot of the times a white male in charge is benefiting somewhere off of that bickering and that distraction and strife. So yeah, Kevin De Leon is drinking the Kool-Aid. He's trying to get to that point. Of the he has that white supremacy type of mentality. That's what people look to as a form of success and power in this country, and they have to be checked on it. Right. Yeah, you are Latino. I'm pretty sure you're proud of your heritage, but your ways and your mannerisms and the way you live in your life is not really coming out of a person of struggle. Not really coming out of a person who's been oppressed, who they had signs up for, Latinos too, about drinking from water fountains, so now you just want to not like disassociate yourself from the oppression, the racial oppression, and want to contribute to racial oppression. You want to be an oppressor, and I think that is the problem with a lot of when you see like the anti-Black racism in some of the Latino community, like the people on that tape are really chasing that whole white supremacist type of, mindset, benefits, want to reap the benefits. You're a lighter skinned person. You probably was the person in your family who would make fun of your darker skinned cousins and think you were better than them because you were closer to being white, and that's pretty much what it is. And, if you,
it's the colorism piece of the white supremacy playbook.
Exactly. So your values are not their values. The people on that tape, every single one of them, their values did not reflect that they were not that they were in opposition of colorism, that they were in opposition of racism and discrimination, that it didn't express that they were opposed to oppression, right, based on your race. It actually lifted up that they were, pro, discrimination, pro segregation, part of the regime that oppresses Black people. That's what they wanted to continue in that trend, right? Hey, I can get away with, I'm fortunate enough to not be Black, in this country, forget what they're going through. I'm going to roll with the privilege I got, and that's horrible and that's disgusting. Instead of what people say openly on the campaign trail, right? People on the campaign trail be like, you know what, this community deserves, fairness. I'm all about fairness and, we all deserve a chance. But behind closed doors, you're only thinking about, number one, yourself. And number two, how can I chase and be like the people in power in this country with are white, they're white males and they don't have any anti-racist type of values in their approach to policy. And it's just a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem.
Can Kevin De Leon be defeated? I think
that was the original
part
question.
of him saying he's going to run is him saying Black people have no power in this town. I don't need you. I can win not only without you, but with an anti-Black platform by having people come to city council meetings chanting all lives matter in your face. I think it's a challenge almost. Do you think we can rise to the occasion and get that guy out of there?
We need boots on the ground. We need canvassers. That's one thing about Karen Bass, Barack Obama. Like they were going up against a very how can I say? They were going up against a tough race, right? But what made them prevail was that they understood the power of organizing, having people go out and canvass and door knock, and get and talk to the constituents that were going to be able to vote for him. And I think that's what it's going to take to defeat Kevin De Leon, right? Because a lot of people might be fooled by his charisma and his where he lived, right, where he's from, right. There's a lot of pride in the East LA community about folks who were born and raised there, so that's what he's relying on, right. He's relying on the fact that where he's from and where he's running at, for the constituents to use that alone as a reason to reelect him. And so that's why we need something to counter that. And we need an organized effort from labor and community to go out there and get a candidate that's really going to be fair to everybody, including his constituents on Skid Row who are predominantly Black, that are in poverty. I cannot trust this man to do the right thing when it comes to all of those homeless people on Skid Row that are predominantly Black. He already shows he does not care about us. So I don't know. I think that BLM is working on a campaign to get Kevin De Leon out of council, and I am going to be on the lookout for any way that I could participate in door knocking or canvassing to get someone out of office who obviously expressed a lack of empathy and around helping everybody in their community despite the color of their skin.
Yeah, for those who are saying right on to Sherry, BLM Los Angeles has a petition on their website, and I know they'll continue to have actions that you can participate in. And there are other organizations as well. I know some of the indigenous organizations continue to call for him to step down, which is highly unlikely. I think we can defeat him. If Skid Row votes, it's over. But even if Skid Row does not vote, I believe that the polling that the LA Times did indicates an opportunity to defeat him. And as I think it was Council Member Harris Dawson said, the way the mayor's race broke in LA gives me hope too.
Yeah, but we need the California Democratic Party. We need Biden, who called for the resignation of Nuri. Like, we need them to speak up too, because this is right.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sherry, we got a minute here. Tell us how to contact you, or tell us about the next Black Worker Center event we should know about.
Yeah, so actually tomorrow there's a Know Your Rights seminar. It's going to be virtual. It's at 12 p.m. It's going to be basic like wage and hour laws, like what is the minimum wage, like what are your breaks, what is overtime, how can you file a claim if your labor rights have been violated. It's going to be tomorrow at 12. It's hosted by the LA Black Worker Center. If you're interested in attending this virtual event, you can please send me an email at SHERRI, B as in boy, ELL28 @gmail.com, or you can slide in my DMs on Instagram at Sherry De La Ghetto. That's SHERRI De La Ghetto on Instagram, and I will send you the registration link.
Know Your Rights seminar, virtual. I love that. Sherry Bell, as always, it's fun and informative to talk with you.
Man, it's always a stone cold gas talking with you, Dominique. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a great time to call me. 800-920-1580. Freestyle phones next, only on KBLA Talk 1580.